with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I forgot to tell you what my New Year's resolution is. I said it on the Oppression Chamber podcast, which was released today, the first one of the year. Get on that. And I forgot to say it on here, but 2023, no jerking off. It's off the table. I'm not committing that shameful act in 2023. And if it's not too difficult, I'll probably just continue it. It's not even that it was a big problem either. It's just distracting. Like, because I've got no outlets really, besides tea, exercise, I suppose, but none of those like outlets you have like in the moment that you can fucking reduce stress with, like drinking, cigarettes, whatever. So whenever I'm doing something that's like difficult, what would happen is I'd be like, I tell you what's better than doing this difficult thing? Jerking off. Jerking off would be much better than doing this. And then once it's in your head, you can't get it out of your head until you actually do it. And then that's a fucking process in itself. And then at the end of it, you're disgusted with yourself. You're like, fucking, what? I'm not 14 anymore. Do I still need to do this? Shouldn't I have moved on by now? I can't imagine cavemen were just fucking sitting there just beating themselves off into old age, which was like 30. How long are you meant to continue with it? And then after the whole thing's done, the shame, the fucking time wasting, you're like out of the mood to do whatever the fuck you were meant to be doing anyway. So then you just go straight to your phone and start scrolling. The day's over. And you're like, well, hopefully tomorrow's a better day. And then the next day you try and do the hard thing again. And you've developed a trigger, so every time you got to do something hard, you need to jerk off instead. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just cutting it out. I'm cutting that out as well. I don't know what sort of weird fucking thing I'm going to develop in absence of that. Maybe I'll have some focus for the first time in my entire life. I'll tell you this, you don't sit there and fantasize as much as you would if that was on the table. I definitely haven't been getting as distracted. Like something will pop into your head and you're like, what? I can't use this. Get out. It's like meditating 24/7. So all that energy needs to get redirected somewhere. So hopefully it comes out in something creative. And if you see me doing like exceptional work, just realize that should be... that really should be in a towel somewhere. So yeah, that's it. If 2023 goes well, I'm going to put it down to the no jerking off and I'm just going to continue doing it. I'm just going to ban myself. Fuck it. It's embarrassing to be doing it when you're older anyway. The most shameful thing is going to be if I break and I have to come on the podcast and go, hey guys, I was watching Bitcoin talk on YouTube and an ad for sunscreen came up and one thing led to another. I don't know what it was. People were half naked. The sunscreen looked like moisturizer. There was too many triggers. So now I'm back to day one. So what am I abstaining from at the moment? Coffee, no sugar, no alcohol, and no jerking off. And pretty much no darts and kinda no drugs. Just no fun at all. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that and I'll keep you updated. Anyway, let's just move right along to this week's Ask Boyle. It's Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question you would like answered by one of the greatest minds of the generation, comedian, philosopher, craney, Le Boyle, I'm now at another level as well. All that energy is redirected now. So the mind's going to be clearer than ever. Anyway, if you have a question that you would like answered by me, send it in to my website. That's boylecomedy.com. There's a section there for Ask Boyle. Click on that, put in your shit, ask your question. Or there's also a little tabulature for drunk dial. If you would like to ask the question with your own fucking voice, then use the drunk dial feature on my website and I'll play your stupid fucking voice on this podcast and I'll answer your stupid fucking question. All right? That's boylecomedy.com. Anyway, let's get to this week's Ask Boyle. So, this question was sent in by my man fucking Pancho out there in, I'm going to say, USA. Unless it's some South American country or Mexico or something like that, there's not that many fucking Panchos fucking floating around. So I'm just going to hazard a guess and say the USA. I'm going to say California, or actually he did tell me where he's from. North Carolina. Carolina on my mind. So anyway, Pancho from fucking North Carolina, let's get to the question. I've never been much interested, but have listened to you go on and on about stocks, investments, and gambling, etc. etc. Question. If you were a stock, based on whatever category of success you'd like, would you invest in yourself and or recommend others to invest in you? Where? Pancho from fucking NC? You have come to the right place. I think that's probably the best Ask Boyle there's ever been. That's the GOAT of Ask Boyles. If I was a stock, would I recommend it? Look, Boyle Pty Ltd has a lot of upside. You look at the stock and you're like, that's a little bit undervalued. There is potential for exponential growth. But at the moment, management are underperforming. You take a look at management, you take a look at the board, and you're like, that needs a complete overhaul. If Boyle Pty Ltd was to fulfill its market potential, then management, there has to be a complete overhaul. Management needs to be replaced. There needs to be a new director in charge. The director that's been in control the last 20 years has let the company just splutter along. It's actually impressive that the company has come this far, considering the lack of, let's say, direction administrations had over this time. Boyle, if you look at the fundamentals, Boyle Corp is really underperforming on every metric you can measure. However, it's operating still like a startup. Like a couple of kids in the basement got the thing going, and then just due to their lack of experience, lack of knowledge, they just haven't been able to push it forward. So if Boyle Pty Ltd had a real good, honest look at itself, said, we're heading in a new direction, thanks for your help, everyone who's been involved up until this point, but for us to progress, for us to fulfill our potential, you all got to go. Everyone's got to go. Boyle Corp needs to do what Elon Musk did at Twitter. Just walk in and just fucking level the joint. Get some fucking new heads, some new energy on board. Get a director, CEO that's driven, that has vision, that has a low time preference, that can see a little bit into the future. Look, if they did that, if there was a complete overhaul, then I would say the outlook is bright. However, there has been no sign over the history of Boyle Corp that this is going to happen. So I would use it as a hedge, an asymmetrical bet. Use it as a small portion of your portfolio. Take a small percentage of your total liquidity, maybe a 1 or 2%. If it doesn't work out, then you haven't lost that much. But on the off chance that it does, then you're going to be happy you had the fucking 1 or 2% on there. So Pancho, that's what I would fucking do. I would sign up to my fucking Patreon. That's what I would do. Get that fucking 1% in. Thanks for sending in that question. It was fucking fun. And I'm just going to sneak in one last question. I'm just going to do it quickly. One of the listeners said it was an emergency, so I'll just quickly do it. All right, so this was from Kyle out there in the US as well. His question is, where does the trans fucking a female fall on sexuality scale to jack off to? Well, Kyle, you have come to the right place. Look, if you're jacking off all the time and you're using porn, all roads lead to weird. It's just how it is. That's why I try and go memory like 99% of the time. Because the roads you can go down with porn, when your blood is boiling, you're at fucking fever pitch and you're just willing to fucking do anything to make it just a tiny little bit better, then you're going to go down some crazy fucking streets. It doesn't really mean anything about your sexuality. It just means you need to stop jerking off. Seriously. It's going to cause some long-term fucking damage. If you're trans fucking a female just to jerk off to, then missionary with a loved one is not really going to do it for you anymore, is it? How about just back off a little bit? Where does it fall though? Trans fucking a female. That's just a dude with tits fucking a chick. That's nothing. There's barely even any shame to that. Just continue on. March on, my friend. Or just stop. Anyway, I hope that didn't encourage you to continue on, actually. Have shame. Respect yourself. Like me for the last 9 days. Anyway, thanks for your question. I hope it fucking helped. That'll do for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.